Hey everybody, welcome back to Chortle Cast. I'm Jake, and with me as always, Steven, the Stream King, the Deadpan Man, the man who couldn't stay up for 24 hours, but that's okay. Hey Steven.
Okay. If this happened on literally any other day, I would have been going strong the whole time, and you know I would have.
Oh, I know you would have.
Because I was going relatively strong after only having 3 hours of sleep. I had been up for 17 hours before we went live. I did the math, Jake, for this very case of defense. I did the math. I was up for 17 hours before we went live, and then I got an hour of sleep when you did your thing. And I was still going strong, and only 2 hours before this thing ended, only then did I start to show signs of degrading mood.
Yeah.
Yes. If it had happened any other night,
I would have. We have video evidence on this very podcast of Steven saying that, hey, for the extra live 24-hour live stream, we should just go the whole 24 hour. We shouldn't have any breaks. And here he is.
If I said that, I wasn't serious because that sounds awful.
No, you were very serious. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. This is Chortle Cast. If you didn't already know, this is the official podcast of Chortle Games, where we talk about TV shows, movies, anime, video games, mostly video games, and whatever else we want to talk about, including our Extra Life live stream that we did this past weekend. We had a lot of fun. Thank you to everyone who donated and to everyone who came out and tuned in. We hope you enjoyed seeing some pies. We hope you enjoyed Whose Chortle Is It Anyway? We had a lot of fun. It was a good time. Steven and I were tired when it was all done, but it felt great. We had a lot of fun doing it.
After we finished, it took us about 45 minutes to clean up the room.
We cleaned that room up so fast.
We did. Although one of the breaks that I took, where everybody was like, "Oh, Steven's sleeping." Guys.
He was cleaning.
I was tearing down. I moved a mini fridge, like a large mini fridge by myself. I was working. So, boo on you.
Boo on you.
But as soon as we left, we went to a costume party that was being hosted by some of our friends, and I stopped in to make an appearance just to say hey. I got home, took a shower, washed the pie cream off my face and everything. Then I went into my room, saw my bed, and that is the last thing I remember. My theory is that I saw the bed, and then I just put my arms out, and the winds took me and gracefully dropped me on the bed. And that was that. So I was so ready.
Steven took me to this costume party so that we could meet, so that I could meet my wife and get a ride home. But we stayed there for like one last party game, and I have not been drunk, believe it or not, but I feel like that must be what it's like, because I had no understanding or comprehension of what was going on. There were people. They had a box that had been wrapped in tape, and then there was like another box inside of that had been wrapped in tape, and so people were like tossing this box around and trying to rip it open, and we were also rolling dice. And I remember it being passed to me, and I like rolled the dice, and someone was like, Jake got it, and I was like, okay. And they threw the box at me, and I was just like, okay. And I had to kind of rip at it and try to get into it. I didn't win this game, unfortunately, but it was quite an out of body experience, if I've ever seen any, because they were all in costume too. I think that really made it more interesting, because I was watching Captain Hook and
Venom was there.
Venom, and then some Egyptian lady fighting over boxes, and it was just very confusing. But anyway, in case you didn't know, this is Chortle Cast. We talk about all this. This happens every Friday at 12 o'clock Central Time. We have a great time. You can be a part of the show by writing in to chortlecast@gmail.com. You can let us know what news stories you'd like to hear us talk about. If there's a certain topic or question you have for us, you can do that there. You can also hit us at our Discord. You can find a link to that.
Don't hit us.
Don't hit us, but like comment.
You can hit us up.
We have a channel specifically for podcast questions and topics. You can put those in there as well. You can find a link to that Discord in the description of this video or on this podcast. Anywho, we got a great show for you. A light week. Last week was very heavy. A lot of stuff. I was back in town for once. I wasn't traveling during a podcast, so there was a whole lot I wanted to get to. This week's a little bit lighter. We're going to be talking about Final Fantasy, canceling some DLC, We're going to be talking about some new Netflix series, anime specifically, that are coming. We never talk, like, anime is one of the rarest topics that we do here.
It's there. It's there.
It's always there, but we have a whole topic dependent on.
I feel like we never have a topic about anime, but we somehow always end up talking about anime every single episode.
We reference
not
it,
as a topic,
there,
but we talk about anime.
It's in our hearts and
we
soul.
Reference it. It's there.
It's with us always.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about some, and then we're going to be talking about the new Disney subscription, Disney Plus. So, anyway, but before we do that, we start the show with a little thing we call Catch Up. That's where we talk about video games we've been playing this week or stuff we've been watching. So, what we've been playing and what we've been watching. So, I'll start us off because Steven has a whole thing he wants to go down about his Switch. And that's all good and fine. He's only like a year and a half late, but we won't go there.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry that I was only just able to get a full-time job, allowing me to float financially and get things to actually treat myself.
You know.
Damn.
eat. That's what ramen noodles are for, Steven. They're for people to have a Switch. Okay, I'm just saying. No, whatever. Anyway, I'm just all fun and games, Steven. I'm just playing with you. Red Dead Redemption 2 is what I've been playing obsessively. To the point that it may be a problem later down the road. Steven, how far did you get in the campaign? Like, just chapter number. What was the chapter you left off on?
Either 3 or 4.
Okay. How long did it take you to get there?
Not long at all.
Like, in a number of hours?
Well, I say that not long at all relative to this game.
Right.
It took me about 10 hours.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, I am midway through Chapter 3. No spoilers here, but I'm midway through Chapter 3. I have been playing this game for 60 hours. I spent way too much time in this game, and I'm moving very slow. I am soaking it all up. I am enjoying every little bit. I'm making coffee. I'm over here chasing gunslingers. I'm doing bounties. I'm getting gear. I got this thing called the cat skull mask. It's great. I got robbed this week. I have 2 robbing stories I'm going to tell. Tales from the road, okay? The first one, which was funny and fun for me, I was riding through the swamps around Saint Delis, or whatever it's called.
Saint-Denis.
Saint-Denis. And I was in the bayou kind of area, and I come across this man. He's like, help, help. And so I'm like, what's up, partner? And he's like, oh, man, I'm lost. I don't know where I am. Can you help me get back to town? So I was like, yeah, come on, hop on. We'll get you taken care of. And so he's like, thanks, mister. You're really nice. And he grabs me and yanks me off my horse, gets on, and starts to ride away. Now, I may have mentioned that I'm playing this as an honorable outlaw, and I'm trying not to kill unless necessary. Some part of me snapped in that moment because I love my horse Roach, and I would do anything to save him. And there's an easy fix to when this happens to you, and I'll tell that in a minute, but I didn't know that at this time. So what I did was I shot the man off my horse with my Lancaster repeater. It didn't kill him. I roped him up. I tied him up. I threw him on the back of my horse. I found the nearest train track, and I tied him to that train track.
You did it dastardly. Man.
I'm not done. I let a train run over him. Then I found whatever was left of his body, and I took out my shotgun, and I blew it until his body did not exist anymore. And then I left. And so that was my thing that I did. However, I got honor points for it. I didn't get any dishonorable points for it. So I think that tells you that I was in the right in that moment, and that's how it is.
That game's morality system's broken.
It's a little off. The next story I have is I was in the same bayou, and I was walking around, and I had
all by yourself.
All by my no. Roach was with me. He's always with me. I love my horse.
Shut up.
I just found the cat skull mask, which is awesome, and I was wearing it because I was just like, screw anybody who doesn't like this mask. I'm just gonna wear it. And I walk up to this house, and this guy was not fazed by my mask. So I was like, what's up with this? So he started talking to me. I didn't even have to greet him. He was like, hey there, partner. How you doing? You want to come inside? Come inside here. Come in. I got something cool in here. And I was just like, this is
Got candy in here, little boy.
basically. And I was like, this is obviously a trap. But I know it's a trap, so maybe I can turn this on him. So I go in to his house, and I get knocked out and drugged. At this juncture, I had not yet been to Saint-Denis or whatever.
Saint-Denis.
Saint-Denis. I had not been there yet. I woke up right outside of Saint-Denis, and I don't know what he did to me, Steven. I don't know what he did, because I had all my weapons. I had all my valuables. Roach was there with me.
Oh, I've got such a bad joke.
I don't know what he did. I don't know what he did.
I've got such a bad joke.
For all I know, he took my kidneys. I don't know. Maybe he took a couple bucks. Like I think I had more money at the time, but like if he took any amount of money, it was so minuscule in the grand scheme of it all that it was disappointing. Like
it said this happened outside Saint-Denis.
Yeah.
Sounds like you probably got Saint-Demised.
This is the kind of quality content you have to look forward to if you decide to subscribe to Chortle Cast.
That's the worst I've ever told.
Probably is. Appropriate, though.
Gosh,
I mean,
what a momentous
seriously,
occasion.
Seriously, that may be. I have no idea. I don't know what he did to me. I tried to go back because I had a general idea of where I was, but I ran into a guy who his arm had been, like, really badly injured. And so he like falls off his horse in front of me. I pick him up, throw him on mine, and he's like, take me to the doctor. And it shows me a doctor. I had not been to Saint-Denis yet.
Saint-Denis.
Saint-Denis. It took me in there, and that's my first experience with that city. And I got into the doctor, and the doctor's like, you'll live. I'll try to save as much as I can. And like basically he's like, I'm going to cut your arm off. And so it was real. You could have, if you wanted to, you could have stayed and watched. The doctor was like, you can go now. You probably don't want to see this. And, like, I didn't move for a second because I was just like, oh, man, this sucks. And the guy was, like, doing some more stuff. But then, like, he picked up the saw and kind of looked at me one more time and then, like, was about to go to work. And I was like, nope.
So the bone saw was ready?
What is up? You're just in, like, a good pun mood tonight.
I can't help it that you've been setting me up. Like these have been low-hanging fruit.
I guess so. Jeez. But anyway, I'm still loving the game. I'm having a great time. Donkey finally did his review.
I was so happy with Donkey's video.
Donkey has a lot of the same gripes that Steven does, but a lot of the same praises that other people have had. But Steven, do you think you made it to did you get as far as Donkey did in his review? Donkey was like, the game is great, it's amazing, but then you pass this chapter and then suddenly it's horrible.
I see that's the thing with me is that I didn't even make it to the chapter. I either had just started chapter 4 or I was in the middle of chapter 3, so I hadn't even made it as far as he had to the point where he says that it sucks after that. But to me it was like my thing was getting to know the characters fine as long as it pays off.
Right.
And what I've heard from both Donkey and Vlad, one of our subscribers, was that it doesn't really pay off. Like, it just kind of goes super duper slow, and then in the last act, everything just happens super fast, and it just doesn't. So that was my big thing. Was like, I was saying to everybody, and I said this on several streams, if the game wants to take this much time, just make sure that the payoff is worth it.
Right.
And what I've heard is that it's not, and that the game, the world itself is the payoff, and that the story is just kind of lacking as far as a full-fledged story goes. So for me, when my PlayStation, amidst our live stream, decided that Spider-Man was a good game to have stuck inside of it forever, it was like, hey fam, I don't want to play any more Red Dead. And I was like, okay, I can live with that. I'm fine. So good timing though, because your boy got a Nintendo Switch.
Steven finally got a Switch.
Week. It finally happened despite my my peasant budget that I've had. I was just now able to afford it. I can finally be one of the cool kids, I guess.
Cool
But
kids.
I got the Diablo 3 bundle.
Yep.
And I told myself...
Still confused why that was the one that made you do it, but go on.
Well, I mean, what other bundles were there?
There's a Smash bundle that comes out this month.
That everyone's going to have.
I'm pretty sure there was a Mario Odyssey bundle. I feel like there were many that you could have gotten. But anyway, I digress.
It fell at the right time. Like, because this was the exact time that I was able to afford one.
That's true. That's true.
And so it was like, basically it boiled down to, do I want the Smash bundle or the Diablo bundle?
Right.
I knew I was going to get Diablo, and I also knew I was going to get Smash, but the copy of Smash you don't get until it comes out.
Right.
So my thing was, get the Diablo bundle. It's got Tyrael on it. Cool. Sounds good. I am content with my decision.
Like I said, I don't understand it, but I'm glad you're happy, and you have one now. So go ahead. What have you been playing?
So when I bought it, I told myself, buy one other game. Just one other game other than Diablo, so that you can kind of start off by playing. Yeah. And I got Breath of the Wild, the Zelda game, because I was told that if I don't own Breath of the Wild, I don't own a Switch.
You don't.
And I've been playing it, and I've been enjoying it a lot. It's way harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Lots of dying. If I had a nickel for every time I heard the little piano riff every time you died, I would be able to go buy another game. But I'm enjoying it a lot. It's very different for a Zelda game in a lot of good ways. But it also... It's not perfect. It's phenomenal. It deserved Game of the Year when it got it, but it could benefit from a little bit more explanation, just a little bit more direction
from the story.
From certain mechanics. Like, I didn't even know how to get a horse until I just stumbled upon a stable and talked to the right guy, and I've only seen horses twice, and I've unveiled the entire map.
That's so funny. You and Brody play and approach games so much differently than I do, because when I know of a game or that's coming out that I want to play, I eat up every ounce of content that's put out pre-release. So, like, I had a game plan for my first hour and a half of Zelda, where I get through the main stuff. I knew where all the treasure chests were on the first island. I had a lot of great weapons. I knew what upgrades to go for first. I knew where the horses were going to be once you get off the island. I knew how to catch a horse. I knew how to cook. Brody didn't know how to cook until like 2 or 3 months after the game came out.
For me, I do that with multiplayer or co-op games sometimes, so I can understand the mechanics and go in without any need for teaching myself or teaching others.
Right.
So, like with something like Anthem, Destiny, or Division, something like that, I will get all of the information I need, full understanding, so that I can help teach other people, so that we can hit the ground running.
Right.
But with single player games, to me, it's like, to do a lot of research is to kind of spoil the early game. The early game is meant to engross me, to teach me everything, and I want to be fully engaged in the early game to the point to where I take everything that they're trying to tell me as gospel, as this is something you need to know, and so I can be like, oh, cool, I never knew that, because if I go in with expectations, then that's going to alter my perception in some ways. And so with Breath of the Wild, that's kind of what I did. I intentionally hadn't watched anything about this game until I finally got a Switch, and I'm glad I did, because it's been a really cool experience. But at the same time, it's like, and I also do this for the sake of kind of getting a gauge of games, because if someone tells me, oh yeah, the game is fine if you spend hours looking on the internet on how to do everything. Warframe is a great example of this.
Right.
Warframe is so overwhelming, and even its diehard fans like my brother Andrew from Friendly Fire Games, they say that it's to the point of like a huge flaw, that it doesn't explain everything. I should not have to go look on the internet for how to do things.
Mm-hmm.
The game needs to teach. And while this game, I understand, Zelda was definitely going for more of a... Sorry, I got a call.
You're good.
Okay, but Zelda was definitely going for more of a open-ended, your story, your adventure kind of feel, where they didn't want you to feel like you were on rails, which is fine.
Mm-hmm. There are no rails at all in that game.
Right.
It's literally go and figure it out on your own.
Which is fine. Which is totally fine. But the problem is when I'm spending all this time playing this game and I can't figure out how to get armor, or the weapons I've got aren't good, or just all these different things that make me feel like I'm playing the same experience on repeat until I finally figure it out. That's a problem, because I've been wearing the same clothes for most of the game because I just recently stumbled upon a village, or I still don't know how to dependably earn rupees. I guess I just sell things to get rupees. Do they not drop?
Yeah, pretty much. You sell things. Okay. Occasionally you'll find not rubies that drop per se, like breaking a vase and finding a green ruby. You'll earn them as rewards occasionally and things like that.
Yeah. And so things like that is where the problem shows up, is where, yes, that's fine. Take me off the rails, make my experience uniquely my experience, but there needs to be an understanding of where and what.
Yeah.
But again, love the game. Yeah. It is a great game. I don't know if I can say it's my favorite Zelda or not, right, but I think that if I had played this game alongside when I played Wind Waker, this game would have edged it out pretty easily.
Yeah. See, and I guess it's a very fine line of not being too hand-holdy and letting you really just have the reins and go.
Right.
But I don't know. I felt like the game cleverly disguised certain mechanics. Like when you first go, most people, and I can say this because they literally track. There's a device in the game that lets you see how your path compares to other people. Most people, when they leave the Great Plateau, go towards towards the castle. So like to the north, and there are horses right there, and so most people see those and either go for them or just move on because they don't know. They either don't think they know how to catch or whatever. So I feel like they try to place things in your way so that you go to these points of interest and eventually figure out the basics.
I immediately went east. Mm-hmm. So
towards
Kakariko. Mm-hmm. That's like the first place I went.
Yeah, you should have seen horses when you jumped off right there.
Nope.
They were there. You just didn't see them.
Okay.
But
so Zelda's great.
And
Love it.
Yeah. Did you went through the two Twin Peak mountains?
I don't remember.
There's a river you go across, and there's two.
I saw
two
horses twice in the game, but the problem wasn't that I couldn't find the horses. The problem was when I needed to abandon the horse by doing some kind of aerial move or something. I hadn't yet found a stable, so I didn't have the horses registered, and I didn't know that registering horses was a thing. That was the problem. So I may have run into horses, but I didn't know how to register them, and the game was taking me through mountains. There was not an immediate path.
Right.
So I lost the horse. I do finally have a horse.
What'd you name it?
It was a horse that's brown and has white on its butt, so I named it Coco because it looked like a cup of hot chocolate with marshmallows on its butt.
Nice. Good name. Good name.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you finally are getting to play that one.
But if I may, for a brief moment, Diablo on the Switch.
Yeah.
I need to talk about this because it's it's an excellent port. Granted, early on in Diablo, you got to experience some of this. It's not that chaotic.
Right.
It's pretty manageable, but when you start doing rifts in adventure mode, level 70, all that stuff, it's probably going to drop the frame rate a little bit. I haven't heard anyone complaining about that, so I haven't tested it myself.
Right.
But the fact that I can play Diablo portable, like a handheld system, that's fantastic. I love that. That was like the part when I got the Switch and I pulled it out and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on Diablo right now. That was where I was like, okay,
that's how you're going to feel about every game now.
Yep. I can totally see that. Like, I'm getting Wizard of Legend just for the sake of portability, even though I already own it on the PlayStation.
Yep. I've done that with a lot of things. So.
Yeah, but something that we had I think we mentioned this on the podcast that we did with Jeremy from 8-Bit Gamesters. Mm-hmm. We were wondering, does the Diablo on the Switch require 2 Joy-Cons or 1? Mm-hmm. You only need 1. And I was really surprised by that because I was testing it, pulled it out, and then tried 1. And there are a few things that are missing, like the ability to portal back to home or the ability to look at the map.
Right.
But all of the combat's there. So on this trip that I'm going on, Anna, my fiance, is going to be stuck with me in a car for 12 and a half hours, and neither of us are going to be driving. So I'm going to be like, man, what do we do? Oh, look, let's slay some demons.
Diablo.
Prop it up, give her a Joy-Con. I'm going to make her learn this game.
Poor Anna.
But she said she wanted to.
And there's Pokemon too. You guys are going to be
We
playing.
will have Pokemon, yes.
You're doing Pikachu, right? We've had this discussion.
I think I'm doing Pikachu, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I prefer Eevee.
I know.
If I can evolve him.
You explained. You can't evolve this one, so what's the point? I'd rather keep the Pikachu that way. So I understand.
Yep.
I understand. Well, that's awesome. And then you said I think it was last week, we talked a lot about some of the new Anthem coverage, but you've watched a lot more recently, Steven, and you
finally watched some, and I can say now, without a doubt, I am surprised that you have not just straight up said you are playing Interceptor, and that's that. Because
I'm strongly for both. Because have you seen the Storm?
I've seen the Storm, but Jake, I know how you play video games, and the Interceptor was made for you.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm probably going to be switching between that and the Storm. So
the Storm looks really cool. I looked through Eric's is another YouTube channel, Eric's Gaming. He's my go-to for all my MMO Lite information. He did a video on all of the classes, and that's the main thing I watched. I watched a little bit of their gameplay stream of the Storm, but I learned a lot. For example, the Colossus. Okay, every single class has 2 offensive abilities and then 1 support ability.
Right.
All of them are different for every class. Like the Ranger, which is the one I'm probably going to be playing, has a grenade ability and a missile ability.
Right.
And they have various options to choose from, which is good because I was worried that would not be the case.
Right.
So did you know that the Colossus, one of his support abilities is a taunt? So there is forced aggro in this game.
Oh, that's good.
So like tanking is actual tanking in this game, which I was really shocked to hear that. Because now, if you're playing a Colossus, you can go into the middle of a group of enemies, hit your taunt, and they will attack you. So it's like pulling heat off of your more fragile Storm character to the Colossus that can take it. Classic MMO mechanic that we don't really see anymore in non-PC MMOs.
Right.
So that was a pleasant surprise. The Ranger, you remember how I texted you, or I think I actually said it at the end of the podcast last week, how they had the ability that increased cooldown rate for... Yeah, that's a Storm ability. I was wrong. That page was wrong. So the Storm gets that ability, so that was points for the Storm. I'm between the Ranger and the Storm.
Yeah.
But I'm leaning more towards Ranger because the Ranger does have a support ability that amplifies ally damage in an area.
That's
so
good.
So you got your Colossus, which is your big beefy guy that's got the big weapons and the tanky and the forced aggro. Ranger's kind of your mid-range with a lot of ways to deal damage, but can also take a good bit of damage. Storm is just
a glass cannon.
Evil. It is a glass cannon. Like it's dealing AOE like no one's business. It fights mostly in the air, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. What I like about it is it's all elemental stuff. Like, do you even shoot guns with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
all the stuff I've seen, it's very little gunplay and mostly just raining down
Yeah, it's as
lightning
much
and fire
gunplay
and
as you want
rock
to
and
give. Yeah, it's as much gunplay as you want to do.
Right.
Because uh, with any class, you're gonna have cooldown rates. There might be a way to increase your cooldowns. I don't know.
Right.
But the storm did seem like it was using things very rapidly, which was
Yeah.
cool. But the interceptor, man, you would have so much fun with the interceptor.
Yeah, I know. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. I am. But like you are between the ranger and the storm, I am between the storm and the interceptor.
Yeah.
The melee stuff looks great. It has throwing stars that it does. I mean, its ultimate is double knives, and it does this cool like knife spinning trick, and then like goes to town.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play that. It's gonna be between that and the storm for me.
So let me ask you this: if the interceptor had a cape, would the storm stand a chance?
Yes, because it's the calling down lightning and rocks coming out of the ground and all the elemental abilities. That seems more like futuristic tech magic to me.
Right. Right.
Whereas the interceptor is still using guns. And while there are throwing stars and while it does have a little bit more of a melee focused build,
I am curious to see how much the interceptor has to use guns, because like we know that the storm doesn't really have to. I'm curious if the interceptor has to.
I don't know. From what I've seen, I feel like inevitably you're going to have to pull away and use guns to wait for some cooldowns or something. But I feel the same way about the storm. So I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong.
Yeah, I'm pretty heavily sold on the Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's not a case like the like Destiny was, where I started playing a Hunter and then decided, nope, Warlock.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that I'm pleased with the Ranger, but who knows?
Well, and the great thing about this is you're not pouring all your time into one build. Like your time, your pilot levels up, and then that will translate to all of your mechs. But
there is javelin leveled as
well.
Correct?
There is.
Okay.
But
okay.
At the very least, half of your time is being spent on your pilot, and then as opposed to Destiny, where you have to start the whole story over just to play as a hunter. It's going to be a lot easier to switch on the go based on what we're wanting, and I think it's good that we all kind of have. Oh, I'm between Storm and Interceptor, and I'm between Ranger and this, and I'm between Storm and Colossus. Because we're going to go into a situation when it's you, me, and Brody, and if Miles gets this, or if we're playing with Jeremy, you're going to say, all right, guys, I'm going to go Ranger. We need a tank. Who wants to be tank?
Yeah.
Jeremy, you want to be tank? Okay, great. Jake, I really need you to be Interceptor because I need you to move in quick and do this. All right, boss, I'm not. Like, that's what we're going to be doing, and it's not going to be ugh, I don't want to play that way because we'll all have one or two that we're excited about.
Yeah, although it does seem like I'm going to be the only Ranger because I'm the only person that's been like, Ranger.
I think you're going to like Ranger. Everything I've seen,
too.
I'm just like, that's Steven. That's Steven.
Yep.
That's what Steven.
I love the missiles. I love the grenades. I love the look too. It just looks cool.
Yeah, I mean,
I just really hope that someone mains Colossus because we're going to need a main Colossus.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to coax Brody to do it.
I think if Brody doesn't, I think Jeremy probably will.
I think Jeremy will.
So anyway,
cool.
Well, that's awesome. All right, let's jump into some news. We've caught up a fair amount now.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Quite a bit. All right, let's jump in. So the first bit of news I'll talk about is kind of a somewhat shocking bit of news. So Final Fantasy 15 has canceled 3 out of the 4 remaining DLCs. As well as announce the release date of the one that they're still doing. It's who's the villain? What's his name?
Arden.
It's his story DLC. I think if I remember correctly, that one takes place either 10 or 30 years before the main game story.
Okay.
And so it's one of those. I can't remember. Anyway, that one is coming. I want to say it was November 27th or something. But the other 3, so the main girl, what's her name, Luna which spoiled the story for me because other people were like, "Oh my gosh, no, we'll never see her again." I was like, "Great."
Yeah.
Anyway, there was a Noctis.
What were the other ones?
There was a Noctis one, I think. Let me look and see what the other ones actually were. But anyway, they're canceling all the other ones because director Hajime Tabata, and I so apologize if I mispronounced that. He has left. He was the director. He took over from the guy who's directing Kingdom Hearts right now.
Yep.
Which he left the series to go finish Kingdom Hearts and focus on Kingdom Hearts. Which, thank you. But anyway, so here I'm pulling it up now. They had 3 remaining ones that were focusing on Arnea.
Arnea, yeah.
Episode Arnea, episode Luna Freya, and episode Noctis, which the whole game is about Noctis, so I was surprised to see that one.
It's probably more to do with his childhood or backstory or something like that.
Probably. That makes a lot of sense. So, who's Arnea? I'm not familiar with that one.
Arnea, she is a lesser character. She was this mercenary that you fight once, but then she ends up helping you a lot throughout the game.
I know what you're talking about,
yeah. She was all right.
All right.
I figured she would get an episode because she honestly didn't make a lot of sense. So,
yeah, that's usually how it goes. You get a cool side character, and it's like, man, I wish we had seen more of them. And then, yeah. But anyway, they canceled all 3 of those. They're only doing that the one. But anyway, crazy. I hate to see. I as a fan, I don't know, Steven, I haven't played much of this game. I bought it when it first came out. Realized I don't have nearly the time to focus on this, so I fell away from it quickly. You've played it recently, have loved it. You beat the main campaign, right? And you've done some
played it, beat all of the episodes.
Right.
So I've conquered the game. I really liked it. I completely get why people don't like it, because that game was kind of picked up from one game and turned into another.
Right.
And it feels very very sloppy and staggered. But the execution was really good. I loved the characters. The gameplay was really cool.
Right.
It was just a fun game. It got me back into single player RPGs.
Right.
Like it's the reason I bought Red Dead on launch day, because I figured, hey,
you'll enjoy it.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's what got me excited about playing Spider-Man day one. Like it got me into single player RPGs.
Right. So what do you think, as someone who's played the DLC, and I'm not sure, I think there was a pack that all these came in. How do you feel knowing that, oh, you were going to have these, but now they're not there anymore?
Well, it's a bummer to hear. I don't feel like I needed to know any more about Arden.
Right.
Which I'm excited to hear that more of that story is going to be told. And a lot of people would disagree with me because Arden did kind of not make sense.
Right.
But for me, the focus was on the four main characters, the Kingsglaive. And that's perfect because they were all interesting characters. I focused on their relationship a lot. I thought that was great. I don't think we needed an episode on Luna Freya. Aranea, that's fine. I think that she could have benefited from an episode. I wouldn't have cared that much because, like I said, she just comes in the background. The thing that I'm nervous about is that I've mentioned before, and this is another part of the news, Comrades. I've been playing it. I haven't played it a lot lately because I've been waiting for someone to play it with. It's a lot of fun. I like it a lot, and it doesn't feel complete.
Right.
And I don't think it will now that they are releasing it standalone, correct?
Yeah, so that's the other. I was gonna say, well, shucks, it stinks that you're not getting your DLC, but Comrades is being released as a standalone game, and if I read the article correctly, it's only $9.99.
That's probably right.
Which is just sounds stupid crazy to me. There's supposed to be a big update. Lots of new costumes and skins and stuff added as well. That's going to drop on December 12th. Also, the main game is going to be doing a collab with Final Fantasy XIV That's going to have some new missions and some new outfits and stuff that come out of that. But anyway, I don't know. My thing with the DLC is it was very ambitious when they first off. It was a very ambitious game. It took forever to come out. It got better and better as time went on. They released it. It was huge. There was a lot to do, and then on top of that, it's hey, here's all this DLC. I mean, 9 to 10 pieces of DLC plus a multiplayer online mode, plus all these collab events like Assassin's Creed and yada yada yada. I would be shocked if they don't do a Kingdom Hearts one at some point. All this stuff for one game. I mean, a ton of stuff. Yeah. So I totally get them getting halfway through that and being like, this was not a smart idea financially. Like, people bought this game and enjoyed it, but there's a select few that are wanting to come back this often. So I don't know. And I think it's smart to release Comrades separately. I think if this price is right, if I understood it correctly, that's a stupid good price. Like, I will definitely pick up that to play with you. So that hopefully that will bolster that side of it. But anyway, just kind of crazy all in all. But hope they get that figured out and get me Kingdom Hearts already. Jeez. All right, so to brighten up the mood, Steven, I have some Netflix anime announcements. You are a big fan of Pacific Rim, and Netflix has announced. Don't me. You're a defender of the series.
I'm not a defender of the series. Don't put that on me. I'm a defender of the first movie. The second movie was hot garbage and needs to go away. But the first movie was great. And when you said, "Oh yeah, there's Pacific Rim anime," I was like, "Okay, that sounds awesome."
Yeah.
So
that's what you. I knew you would be excited. That's my whole point. I knew you would be excited. This is gonna cheer you up. Okay. Just let me go with my transition here. Netflix announced 5 new animes that they're going to be making. The first one is a Pacific Rim, it's a Pacific Rim anime. It's going to expand upon Pacific Rim and Pacific Rim Uprising. It's going to focus on 2 siblings who pilot an abandoned Jaeger in an attempt to find missing parents across a hostile, is it Kaiju? Kaiju peppered landscape. So
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, so I have not seen any of the Pacific Rim movies, but I know it's giant robots fighting monsters. I assume
the first one is great.
I assume the monsters have, if they haven't taken over or like, where to the point that it says Kaiju peppered landscape. I did not imagine, from what little I know about the movies, that like there were just Kaiju everywhere. Like, I assumed it was an invasion or like I don't know, some sort of incursion happening.
That doesn't sound in canon with what Pacific Rim 1 was, because the way it was in Pacific Rim 1, the kaiju would breach through a hole to another dimension once every so often, and they had Jaeger pilots to take them on. But it was never like kaiju pouring through in large quantity. So maybe it happens.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, it could be a poor description. Like, this description could be kind of misleading. But anyway, interesting. But it's going to take place in both those established worlds. So, Altered Carbon, which, Steven, have you watched the Netflix Altered Carbon?
Not yet, but I heard good things.
It is really, really good. It's a good book series, too. I haven't read it, but I've had a lot of friends tell me it's really good. If I had time to read, I would, but Altered Carbon, the live-action series, is really good. It's already been renewed for season 2, and they're still doing that, but this is going to explore new elements of the story mythology, and that's basically all we know at this point. So, some sort of Altered Carbon anime. I'm really excited. It's a very, steampunk 2077 that's CD Projekt Red. Cyberpunk. It's very, like, that and Altered Carbon are very similar. So
it's like Blade Runner.
Yeah. So those are all great things. I'm excited to see that series. There's this other one called Kangaster. I think I'm saying that right.
Okay.
It's an anime where you're in a post-apocalyptic world where a disease called Kangaster turns people into giant murderous insects. So there you go. That's what that one's going to be about.
All right.
I think you'll like this one too, Steven. There's another anime called Yasuke or Yasuke.
Okay. Yasuke,
It's
probably.
Yasuke.
Yasuke.
It is set in a war-torn feudal Japan. In it, a retired Ronin must protect a mysterious child against dark forces.
Sounds kind of like Logan / Last of Us,
But with a Ronin.
but with yeah. Actually, yeah. That could be good. That could be good.
I think that could be good. I'm excited about that one. And then the last one is called Terese, and it's based off a graphic novel by the same name. It focuses on a woman who goes head to head with a criminal supernatural underground or underworld. So
Interesting.
I don't know what that one's going to be about, but anyway, Pacific Rim, that'll be cool. I think I could watch an anime about it. I don't know that I want to see the movie. But Altered Carbon, I'm really excited about, and that Yakuza or Yasuke. I don't know.
Yasuke.
I'm
Yasuke.
just really Yasake. Maybe that sounds better.
All of our Japanese viewers, please write your hate mail to
Yeah,
Jake.
please send it to. I apologize because I love your culture. I just can't speak your language. To be fair, though, I can barely speak the English language, so
Yeah, well, it's hard.
it is hard. But anyway, I'm really excited about those. I really like the anime that is offered on Netflix now, and
Yeah, it's all done by the Castlevania people, right?
I don't think it's
I heard the Pacific Rim one might be.
no. The Pacific Rim one is being done by. It doesn't tell me who's developing it. It just tells me co-runners, showrunners here. But no, there's a lot of other directors and stuff. It's I don't know. That's a great question. I thought it told me who their like publishing house or like developing, like where their hub was that they're making all these, but I guess it didn't.
Right.
It said it was announced in Singapore, but I don't know if that's actually where they're being made. But anyway, the last bit of news, Steven, came in fairly recently before we started. Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, has come out and said has announced the upcoming streaming service is going to be called Disney Plus. We've known about this service for a while. Basically, a subscription service for all your things Disney. They've been making a lot of new shows and a lot of new content for it. We've had rumors of a Loki and a Scarlet Witch series. Bob confirmed the Loki series. He mentions it by name, mentions that it's currently in development and that it'll launch alongside. He also mentioned that there's a second Star Wars live action series that's being developed currently. There's and it's going to be a prequel to Rogue One. He mentioned that Jon Favreau. His live action Star Wars series is going to be on this deal.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one. But anyway, it's gonna the service is gonna launch in late 2019. I'm glad we still have a little bit more time to not have to have 8 million subscription services. But what do you think, Steven? The Loki thing was rumored. I'm a little sad to hear that it is true, just because he had such a good end in
I think it's
Avengers.
I think it's stupid. I think it's stupid, and I said to you right before we started this podcast, I said, Jake, I think I might be done with the MCU after Avengers 4.
It's going to be hard for them to capture and maintain the same audience that they have now.
I am so afraid that they're going to pull a Star Wars, and they're just going to oversaturate it, and giving us TV shows like, of all the characters, two of the ones that need a show the least are Scarlet Witch and Loki. Scarlet Witch I could understand.
Yeah, there was another one rumored about Winter Soldier and Falcon, like a buddy cop almost. I think that would be great. I think that would be great.
But like Loki, he's dead. Let him be dead. He died a hero. Like the only time that his character would ever develop is in death. So sorry, spoilers. So let him stay dead.
Wow. Yeah.
Who hasn't seen Infinity War at this time?
I mean, yeah. Come on. Or known about it at this point. But yeah, and I agree. What it is, and I think this is the crux of the problem is, I think Disney said, man, we're losing a lot of business to Netflix. Why don't we make our own Netflix? And they were all like, yeah, that's great. We'll put all our movies on it. That'll be great. And then they're like, well, but Netflix has original content. We need to do original content that's just on this streaming service. Ideas go. Like, they just, anything anybody could come up with in that moment has made it to a show.
And that's dumb because we know that there's probably not going to be any crossover with the movies and the Disney streaming service, because that would harm the, like, if Loki was to have something return to a movie that was developed in the show, that would harm the reception of the movie, because it's like, oh, now I need this streaming service and I need to watch this show to understand what's going on in the movie.
Right.
We've already seen a lot of that happen through context in the movies, because everybody's like, oh, these Marvel movies are too much to watch because now I need to watch all these movies to get any of them.
Right.
Marvel is not, and I hope not, should not make it to where the shows cross into the movies. They should make it to where the movies cross into the shows more. And having two of their characters that have been very prominently featured in movies have their own shows is dumb. It's just dumb. If they need original content, go towards the more street level heroes like they did with Netflix. They've already canceled. Thanos snapped half of the Netflix Marvel shows out of existence. So why not just move them over there? Probably, I guess, because they're more mature. I don't know. That's what I'm saying though, is that I've loved Marvel, the MCU. I've loved all of it since Iron Man 1. Mm-hmm. I've been a huge believer, huge follower of it. I've grown up with it a lot. Mm-hmm. But by the sound of it, they are headed down a risky path, and I might hop off with Avengers 4, especially with everything that's happened with Guardians, because Guardians was my main thing.
Yeah, so that's been a rough deal.
Yeah.
You're a big Star Wars fan, too. What do you think about, obviously we both mentioned we're kind of excited about Jon Favreau's Star Wars series, but what do you think about the other one they're doing? Is that, like, they've talked about oversaturation with the movies. If they continue to drop more and more shows, is that going to be a turnoff for you, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, because it's like, at least with movies, they've got a budget. Mm-hmm. Like with Jon Favreau's show, The Mandalorian is what it's called. I believe in that because it has a stupid big budget. Like it's dumb how big that show's budget is. And so it can be good. It might be movie quality on TV format, but that's not going to happen with all of these shows. And so a lot of them are going to feel dumbed down. I don't know how I feel about the one that you said it follows Cassian, the Rogue One prequel.
Yeah, there's a Rogue One prequel, which I think it's a little crazy that the prequel is getting a prequel, but okay.
Yeah, I loved Rogue One. I liked Cassian a lot, but what are you going to show us?
Yeah.
Like, I think it would be cool to get to see the rebellion on a more intimate level, but Cassian, like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like they could have told a new story, and that's the problem. Star Wars has such a hard time disconnecting itself from old characters,
right? Yeah,
because they for some reason don't feel like they could succeed without. Oh, remember him?
Yeah,
and that's why this Jon Favreau
Darth
thing.
Maul, remember? You know.
Oh my God!
You know all this stuff. So
remember Han Solo? Well, here's a whole movie about him. Like that's why I'm so excited about the Jon Favreau Mandalorian show, is because as far as we know, it's going to be refreshing. It's going to be something new, and it's not going to rely on existing characters. And Star Wars. Oh man, the books and even the video games are a great indicator of the fact that Star Wars creates new characters so well.
Right.
I've talked about Kyle Katarn here, Corin Horn Gannon, Gavin, that's his name. Gavin. There's another guy. It might have been Gannon was this guy's name. He was the quartermaster in Luke's Jedi Council. There was all these cool characters.
Right.
And now it's like we don't get anything like that anymore. We just get, oh, here's what Luke's been up to.
Right.
Oh, here's an Obi-Wan Solo movie, which honestly an Obi-Wan Solo movie would be good.
It would be.
But
yeah, and then like Solo, who wants to know what Solo did before? So anyway,
I would have loved Solo if it was not Han Solo.
Right.
I love smugglers in Star Wars. They're awesome. They're interesting and cool. But if you're gonna tell me a story that I haven't heard, tell me a story I haven't heard. Don't tell me a story that is filled with... and on the left, you'll see how Han got his blaster. Oh, and look to the right. There's how he got the Millennium Falcon. Like, I don't need like a story that has to have the check boxes, you know? I need something new that I'm going to be invested in.
Right. Anyway, well...
I get emotional about Star Wars. Sorry. It's like... I loved it as a kid, and I hate to see what's happening to it today.
Well, I hope both end up being good. I'm curious to see what the Loki series is going to be about. I don't know what they could do to salvage it for me at this point, but I'm interested to see. I don't think we have a price yet for the streaming service. I don't think we have a monthly subscription fee or anything like that announced yet.
Yeah.
I imagine they'll eventually do a service trailer that shows a bunch of the series they're going to start and what content's going to be there, and they'll announce a price and a full release date at some point down the road. Maybe at D23 2019, that would probably be a good spot. Anyway, I'm still hesitantly optimistic about it.
So, I mean, the fact that the streaming platform...
That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, reluctantly optimistic.
That too.
Like that's the fourth time I've had to. Yeah. Anyway, it's good to hear that Marvel and Star Wars will both have a presence there. Mm-hmm. But maybe the Loki show will be a prequel. Maybe it'll teach us more.
That's the only thing that could maybe salvage it for me.
But if it's a prequel, then it would have to have Hemsworth as Thor.
Right. Unless it's something just so off the wall that like it's something Loki did on his own without Thor. I don't know.
But if all that, like, why?
Yeah. That's again, and we've said this. That's what shocks me about his selection, because yes, he's a very popular character, but he's been in a lot of the movies. We don't have a lot of like, gee, I wonder what Loki was up to during all of this. Like, there's not a lot of those holes. So,
to me, I hear that, and with Infinity War, spoilers, with Infinity War, everyone that died from the snap, you kind of know is coming back.
Right.
But we didn't really have confirmation yet that people that didn't die from the snap were coming back.
Right.
Like when Loki, Heimdall, even Gamora, and who else? Vision. When they all died, there was a chance that we thought, oh man, are they actually coming back? We don't know.
Right.
And now that Loki's got a freaking TV show, it's like, well, literally the first person you kill on screen, and he's coming back. Okay.
Oh, he's coming back. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yep.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Chortle Cast. We do hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, there's a couple things you can do to help us out. Number one, if you're on YouTube, you're already at chortlegames.com. You can leave a like on this video, share it with your friends, and leave a comment. Let us know what you think about all these topics we've discussed. If you're an audio listener, you're listening through iTunes probably. You can leave us a nice little review there. That helps people find the podcast. We'd appreciate that. You can also help us out by emailing at chortlecast@gmail.com, because we want you to be a part of this show. You can write in with your news topics, questions that you may have for us, that sort of thing. We'll discuss it here on the podcast. We appreciate that. You can also do that through our Discord, which you can find a link in the description of this video or on this podcast. And there's a channel there. You can do the same things. You can also follow us on Twitter at Chortle Games and Facebook at Chortle Games. And follow all our tweets, and you can tweet at us if you have something you want to see, like Beat Saber announced this week that it's coming out. I usually don't talk a lot about releases unless it's like something crazy, but like that was a fun thing I found out about on Twitter today. So those kind of things, you can send us those. But anyway, we had a good show. Thank you, Steven, for talking and hanging out.
Of course. I do talking a lot.
We do talk a lot, and we like to talk a lot. I want to go over so the schedule for this week. The podcast is not the only thing we do. In fact, right before this podcast went live, Steven did a little Where is Zer stream where he played Destiny 2 and found out what Zer is selling and where he's at.
And 2,000 of you watched. Thanks.
2,000. Wow.
2,000. Calling it early.
Calling it early.
2,000 people.
But anyway, you can tune into that and follow along with us, and we can all be disappointed together or excited. I don't know. Sometimes we're excited. We were most excited when we guessed where he was going to be right the first time, which was Titan, which was for a while where Steven went first every week because he knew eventually he'd be right.
I didn't know that my precognition went 4 weeks in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the issue.
that was the problem. But anyway, we do that also on Fridays, and this is a little bit of a switch up. We do one live stream in the afternoon. Now, we used to do 2 live streams on Friday and 2 live streams on Saturday. We are backing that down to we're promising you 1 live stream on Friday and 1 live stream on Saturday. Part of that is I've become very busy in my life. I'm flying a lot more for shoots. I'm gone a lot more for shoots, which means I don't have as much time with Lee Allison during the week. And so it's frustrating when I get home, and as much as I love doing streams and gaming and doing stuff, when I haven't seen her for a week and I have to come back and jump straight into something else. So to help alleviate that, also Steven's about to get married.
I'm about to get married. I'm working more on the weekends than I have in the past with my new job.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot less availability.
Exactly. We've been able to maintain it so far, but it's getting to a breaking point, so we're just going to, starting this week, we guarantee you 1 stream. That doesn't mean, though, if there's 2 big launches in one night, we may have 2 streams. These streams may be longer. We typically do about an hour and a half to 2 hour stream. But we do 2. Yeah. This may start to shift to like a 3-hour stream or whatever.
Yeah. And there might be sometimes like when, for me specifically, if Anna is out of town or hanging out with friends on a night and I've got nothing to do, I might do 2 streams. It really all depends. But the only scheduled streams will be 1 on Friday and 1 on Saturday.
Exactly. But we'll still have a lot of fun. It's going to be great. On Mondays, we do a Let's Play. This week, it's going to be a little game called Moonlighter. It's an indie game that's been out on PC and PlayStation and all these other things.
This is the one you told me about, right?
Yes.
Shopkeep, yeah.
It came to Switch this week, so I got it. I played it. Going to have a Let's Play up there. Steven, it's Zelda-like. Basically, at night, your character goes into a dungeon, and it's a dungeon crawler, Metroidvania style. Roguelike. Sorry.
It's a roguelike with you're an adventurer in the dungeon at night and then a shopkeep during the day. And I don't know when this guy sleeps.
I'm excited. I've been waiting to try it. I've waited to touch it on Switch because I knew that would be where I'd get the most out of it. So anyway, that's going to be Monday. On Tuesday, we do a little thing we call Team Up Tuesday. That's where Steven and I and whoever else we can get from the channel or from other channels, we play a multiplayer online game. We've been doing a lot of Destiny. We've been switching it up every now and then because some other things are going on. We'll probably be doing Destiny, but
maybe Destiny, maybe Division, maybe Payday 2, something that we can all play together.
It may be, who knows? So anyway, by the way,
maybe Jake ditches me and plays more Red Dead.
That's probably more likely. By the way, this Friday we'll be playing Payday 2, so stay tuned for that.
I'm excited.
It is going to be very exciting. On Wednesday, Spyro comes out on Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday, I will have a Spyro Let's Play on Wednesday, ready for all you fun people. So get excited about seeing me be happy about a purple dragon. And then
You're not as glowing as I thought you'd be.
me.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
You've talked so much about Spyro. Let's hear more about Spyro, Jake.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I haven't watched a ton of the coverage and stuff, but I'm excited. I'm excited to play it. I would rather something new from Spyro, but I'm
Makes
excited
sense.
about the reignited trilogy. So anyway, that'll be the Let's Play Wednesday. On Thursday, Steven does a live stream series. Been playing through Phantom Doctrine. We're still doing Phantom Doctrine. So
We're still doing Phantom Doctrine. Hopefully it starts to do something soon. Because I feel like
right.
I'm taking too long. And
Right.
I need to pick up the pace, but it's like... It's not like XCOM with the pacing. It's a lot slower. But we're still playing it.
Yeah. Yep. And you can be a part of that. Tune in Thursday to find out how. And then on Friday, this is a great week because also Hitman comes out next week, which we'll have a Let's Play of that at some point. But Friday, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee comes out. I'm getting Pokemon
nice.
Let's Go Eevee. So I will be live streaming that. We'll also have another podcast for you at 12 o'clock Central Time. And then we'll do another Where Is Earth stream as well. So a lot of great stuff, a lot of stuff going on. We apologize if you're disappointed about the not 4 streams in a weekend, but you'll still have us for 2 guaranteed. You see us plenty throughout the week, so I think it'll all work out and we'll all be happier for it. So anyway, and that's it for this episode. Steven, thank you for watching or tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna go be a cowboy. We'll see you next time.